Most founders on LinkedIn are one good sequence away from a full pipeline. Most services I talk to are sending messages on LinkedIn. They'll spend weeks reaching out, following up, and checking their inbox, hoping something lands, but they're not asking the question that actually matters. Go open your LinkedIn inbox and look at the last 30 days of your outreach. How many of these are turning into a call? How many of those calls are actually turning into clients? I've audited the outreach sequence of dozens of business owners, and the same patterns are showing up every single time. The ones getting ignored aren't getting ignored because their offer's bad or the algorithm doesn't work. They're getting ignored because their sequence has no structure, no logic, and just sounds like a robot. This gives the other person no reason to respond to you. This matters because LinkedIn gives you direct access to these decision makers, and no platform comes close to it. When you're messaging, there's no algorithm blocking your reach. There's no ad spend required, and there's no gatekeepers. Just you and the exact person that needs exactly what you have to offer. So if your sequence is right, you're going to get the reply. And if it isn't, you're going to get crickets. And crickets means no calls, and no calls mean no clients. See, I've helped 30 plus coaches, consultants, and agency owners build a consistent pipeline off the back of LinkedIn by building outreach sequences that turn cold connections into booked calls and then paid clients. Today, I'm breaking down exactly how to build this outreach sequence from scratch, what each message needs to do, and the specific steps to go from zero to a pipeline that fills itself. So let's get into it. So your sequence isn't just a bunch of messages. It's three things working closely together. Element 1 is a profile that does the selling before you say anything. Element 2 is messages that build the curiosity. Element 3 is a follow-up cadence that keep these conversations alive. See, most people have one, maybe two of these running, but the people that are booking consistent calls have all three. Miss any one of them and the whole thing will break. You can have the best opening message in the world, but if your profile looks like a CV from 2018, no one's going to click onto it. You can have a great profile, but if your follow-up is just checking in, the conversation will die. It's a system and every part has to work. So with that said, let's go through every single one. All right, your profile, which is your foundation. Everything starts from here. Before one message is sent, your profile either earns the trust or destroys it. Think of it like this. Someone gets your message. First thing they do is click your name. Then they've got about 4 seconds to decide if you're worth their time. So that 4 seconds is your window. Your headline. Most people are going to put founder at X, CEO of Y. Nobody cares about this. The person who's viewing your profile needs to know, does this person actually solve something that I need solving? And your headline needs to answer that question. Is this relevant for me? Name the problem you solve or the outcome you deliver and nothing else. See, your about section. This is where most profiles die. A wall of text about credentials and certificates, years of experience, services offered. Nobody is going to read that. What they're doing is scanning for relevance. Your about section should open with a line that makes people feel seen. Your featured section is the most underused part of LinkedIn. Most people will leave it empty or fill it with random posts. Your featured section is basically a soft CTA, and it's where people will go when they're interested, but they're not quite ready to book that call yet. One lead magnet where they can opt in, show some case studies, and maybe a short video giving them some more value on what you can do. When your profile's tight, you don't work as hard in the DMs because your profile is doing the work for you. Okay, next, let's look at the connection request. So the connection request is message 0, and most people get this wrong before the sequence even begins. The connection request has one job, just to get accepted. Don't try and impress them, don't explain your offer, just get them to click accept, and then we can go from there. So no, never add notes to your connection request. This person will just smell the pitch and never really accept. So leave the message for when they've actually seen your profile and accepted the connection request. If you want to know exactly what your outreach looks like to a cold prospect, which messages are working, which messages are killing conversations, and what a sequence built for your specific offer should look like, head to the link in the description and book yourself onto a strategy call with me. I've helped 30 plus businesses build these consistent LinkedIn pipelines, and off the back of that, generate consistent calls without paid ads or burning their calendar. I'll audit your current approach and your current outreach, show you exactly where you're breaking down, and map out the sequence that fixes that for you. This is just data, no fluff or theory. Now back to the framework. Now let's go on to the opening message. Because they've accepted the message, what do we do now? The biggest mistake here is moving too fast. They've accepted your connection request. That doesn't mean they're going to cough their money over to you. It's a signal that they've invited you into their world and you now have the opportunity to say hello to them. So this structure is normally what works best for me. Acknowledge something that you've seen, a post, a role change, something in their banner or their graphic. Show that you're human and that you actually look. You'd be surprised how far this will go nowadays. Then drop a small observation and then compliment them off the back of that. This disarms the pitch. Remember, it's never about you. It's always about them. Ask one question, open-ended, and low friction. So we're not directly pitching them. We don't need to show off case studies. We don't need to give them hard questions to answer, especially if they've not given you any signal in the past. But like I said, there is two approaches here. Sometimes they might have liked your post or commented on your post. In this case, there's more leverage for you to go in and actually position a properly structured message. Now your opener might be able to be a little bit more direct to them. So you get this lane right and the conversation will feel natural from the beginning. Get it wrong and it's going to feel off and it's going to start feeling like tug of war in your DM conversation. conversation. See, most business owners I work with have the same problem. They have a great offer. They know who they work with, but their sequence either starts too strong and then kills the conversation, or it's just so vague that nobody's going to want to reply to it. Now let's talk about your follow-up sequence. Most leads get lost in the follow-up, not because people stop being interested, but because your follow-ups just killed it. There's a big difference between following up with someone and chasing the conversation. Chasing is, hey, just checking in. That's not a conversation. That's a reminder that they've just ignored you. It doesn't add anything. It just creates this weird awkwardness in the conversation. Following up properly means adding value each time. A new angle, maybe something useful, a reason to re-engage that has nothing to do with your timeline. See, message 2, send it 2 to 5 days after your initial outreach. Don't reference that they didn't respond. Just come back with a little bit extra for them to nibble on. Maybe a pattern you're seeing in the industry, a free resource, a result from someone in a similar situation to them, or maybe just one useful observation and nothing else. And message 3 can come 2 to 5 days again after that. What we've seen work best here is actually letting them know that the conversation is finished. You're not going to reach out again, and that this last one is just sanity checking basically the whole situation. This is something that's low commitment and not directly pitching, because realistically, if they don't want the conversation, they don't want the free value, are they going to want to reply? Some people appreciate the fact that you have politely closed the book on them, and from there they will see the opportunity to actually drop you the message. See, done correctly, this 3 message sequence has doubled my reply rate. Most people from the sequence are going to reply from either DM 2 or 3, and using this 3-step sequence I have doubled my reply rate. Now let's look at the full picture. Let me show you what this looks like before and after. Before, you've got no sequence in place. You've got blank connection requests, instant pitches, 1 message in silence, following up 30 times, conversations dying after the first reply. Then you have an empty pipeline and inconsistent clients. You're working harder than you should be for results that just don't compound. Now, after, you've got a full outreach sequence that runs for you. You've got a profile that pre-sales before you say a word. You get connection requests accepted consistently. You have an opening message that starts a real human conversation, and a follow-up cadence that actually keeps these leads warm. The result of this is book calls coming in every single week for you. Same platform, same audience, just a completely different sequence. That is the whole system. It is not complicated, but it only works if you've got all these elements working together. Most people are going to have 1 or 2 of these in place and wonder why they're not booking calls, but the ones booking calls are dialing in every single one of these weekly. So here's what's going to happen next. You close this video, you think everything makes sense, and then you go back to sending the same messages that you've always sent to the same unqualified prospects as before. Same connection requests, same openers, same silence. Meanwhile, the coaches, consultants, and the agencies that are consistently filling their calendar, qualified prospects every single week. They're not posting more, they're not spending tons on ads. They're building the sequence that works every single day. And they're the ones getting results without doing anything overcomplicated. They fix their profile, they're sending the right connection requests, and they're sending the right opening messages. They've built a follow-up cadence and they track their leads properly. And they stay consistent to build this whole system over time. See, I helped a kid who'd been stuck on a LinkedIn messaging for 6 months, have a complete breakthrough in a single session. She went from being frustrated and invisible to having a sequence that feels natural, lands powerfully, and is already changing her conversation. I remember showing her the LinkedIn messaging, and 2 hours later she had 2 leads in her calendar already. Or take Marcel, who was booking 3 to 5 enterprise level deals a week using a simple outreach cadence. Or clients like Tom, who signed his first client on week 1 of running it. We were running the same platforms, the same audience, but had a better system. See, you can build this with what you have already if you actually put the work in. So the question isn't whether it's going to work, it's whether your real clients are going to be able to find you on LinkedIn this month, or whether they're going to be connecting with your competitors instead. So if you're interested, like I said, link in the description, book your strategy call. Let's completely revamp your LinkedIn and build this full sequence for you.